All right. Hello, everybody. We should be fine. Sorry, I'm doing that low-tech thing where I wait for a site to load so I can check if I'm broadcasting, because this is the most professional channel that you've ever seen. I'm broadcasting because this is the most professional. I'm sorry. Why don't you stay muted, phone? My phone doesn't stay muted. Alright, I'll probably just cut this out. In fact, I'll cut this whole stream out. Fuck this stream. Why do we need a stream at all? It's supposed to be quiet. Alright. Let's close that. Do this. Do this. And this. Alright. So, guess what we're talking about today, everybody? We're talking about how trans women are like cheese, okay? Not a topic I thought that we would be covering here today, or ever. But, things happen. And if you haven't heard, the latest drama is, of course, with Destiny. Now, if you haven't heard, or you haven't seen, actually, why did I share the wrong tab? Again, very professional on this program. Very professional on this program, as you have come to expect. Where's the original tweet? I know I had it here somewhere. Or at least it's a tweet in reference to the original broadcast, I guess. Big deal. Where is it? Oh gosh, did he delete it? If he deleted it, that's going to be really, really funny. No, no. No, no. No, no. No, no. Where did it go? Okay, we found it. We took us a while, but we found it. All right. So, our Destiny, who we have not talked about on this channel yet. I know, super fucking weird, right? Unexpected. Let's go. All right. Now you get to see the magic of Twitter behind the curtain. Now, if you aren't on Twitter, or you aren't on Twitch, or if you have a life, you probably don't know Destiny. Destiny is, these days, known as a debate pro, the king of the debate pros, you might say, or the queen. I don't know Destiny's regal preferences. I don't want to assume. Now, Destiny is famous for being fast talking, but not very deep thinking. And we're going to see why that is today. Look. This is Destiny's Twitter, of course. If you mislead someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities, that's tantamount to rape. Okay. Content warning. We're going to be talking about a lot of slurs, a lot of sexual assault, a lot of just awful shit. Okay. This is the original tweet. We're not here to necessarily talk about the original tweet, although let's walk through. Let's just walk through it on the assumption that Destiny is not specifically trolling here. Let's walk through on the assumption that Destiny actually means what he says. And he's not, hyper fixating on something just to get outrage clicks. Let's assume. We're assuming a lot, but that's okay. So, sorry, I'm trying to compose my thoughts here. This has kind of been sticking in me all night. Not necessarily what Destiny said, because Destiny, at the end of the day, is just another asshole on Twitch. Another asshole who just shouts, "Debate me, bro," at anyone who catches his fancy. Because Destiny has certain preferences for the number of viewers you have before he will engage you in any kind of conversation. That'll be funny later. It's because this is part of the snowball effect that leads to what happened in Florida yesterday. Depends how you view time. If you're just waking up, it was yesterday. If you're me and you're still up, it was earlier this afternoon, where Florida passed a law that said that teachers will now have to inspect the genitals of children in order to allow them playing on sports teams. That's what this leads to if it goes unchallenged. Which is why we're here challenging it. Anyway, let's walk through this idea. So, Destiny's problem is if you mislead someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you're engaging in sexual activities, that's tantamount to rape. Okay. Now, specifically, we'll follow the rabbit hole. He's referring to trans people should disclose that they're trans. No. Disclose that you are trans and let the man, woman decide if they want to continue getting to know you. My opinion. Whatever. So he's obviously talking about trans people here, even though from the context of just this tweet, we couldn't see this before, but if you only take what Destiny said, pretty much every man on the internet and on Tinder has committed something that's tantamount to rape because they mislead you about the size of their penis. Whatever you say, that's funny. I don't care. Anyway, that could be what he's referring to. I don't think it's what he's referring to based on some very dodgy bullshit he's been pulling, trying not to get pinned down on this, because obviously that's what the words say. If you mislead someone relating to sexual organs and they discover it as you are engaging in sexual activities, that is tantamount to rape. So if you mislead someone that your dick is an inch, 2 inches, whatever, bigger than it is, they will obviously only discover that after your pants are off, so you are theoretically engaging in some kind of sexual activity. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you're in BDSM and you're having a slave inspection or something. I don't know. But that would be tantamount to rape. That's Destiny's logic. That's really all it is, and it's really flimsy and very impeachable. Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's very dumb. I don't have a good synonym for dumb right now. It's very late. It's 5:30 in the morning. It's not late, it's technically early. The sun is already up where I live. So with the understanding, of course, that this is about trans people, let's take the literalism out of this, right? Let's give it is it a charitable reading if we think that he just has a problem with trans people? It feels kind of uncharitable. But let's do what the Destiny stands want. Let's take his statement in context. Because clearly he wasn't necessarily referring to what straight cis men do daily on Tinder. He was referring to trans people because, he, quote, treated a trans people should disclose their trans tweet. Okay. What's really telling, of course, and what's problematic, and what functionally makes this useless is this word here. Mislead. If you are dating a trans person, or you are looking to date a trans person, or you are viewing a Tinder profile of a trans person, or whatever, just because they present a certain way does not mean that they have misled you about the state of their genitals. That's it. There, that's the rebuttal. That's it. It's over. It's done. Because it's not misleading if it's your assumption based on their presentation. Now, it is true that we have a cultural expectation that someone who presents feminine or female has a vagina, or someone who presents masculine or male has a penis. That is something that we assume just because of various sociological factors that are way too complicated to get into at 5:30 in the fucking morning. But for whatever reason, because it's expected, because it's tradition, because it's mathematically likely, whatever all those myriad of reasons are, we expect that to be true. But that doesn't mean that the person that we have expectations for is lying to us, right? You know what this is? This is incel talk, right? When I'm going to be broad with the term incel here, but you know that thing that incels like to do where before they turned really bitter, they idolized some woman, right? And then when they actually talked to her, it turned out that she wasn't anything like the stupid fantasy they put up in their heads. And so she betrayed them. That's basically what this is, right? It's the same thing, just on a very smaller and arguably less important scale, possibly. But it's the same thing. It's what it is. If you make expectations of somebody they aren't obligated to meet your expectations. That's just like common social understanding that you develop theoretically when you're around 7 to 9 years old, that Destiny seems to have not mastered. Shock. Shock and surprise. So it's not misleading if a trans person, let's just say a trans man, starts flirting with you and you flirt back and you assume that they would have some form of functioning penis. Maybe they don't in this particular hypothetical case. Completely hypothetical. That's not their fault. You just assumed it. I mean, you assumed. What if it was a cis man without a penis because he was in a car accident? Or is a veteran who got his dick shot off? Like, you would still be making the same assumption and you would still be met with the same disappointment or whatever Destiny is trying to describe here. Not disappointment, I guess, just shock and fear or whatever. Why is that different? Because we know Destiny doesn't think it's different because he has been asked quite a bit. And he doesn't think it's any different. Well, he thinks it's different, but he won't commit to it, right? Because he realizes that he walked himself into a fucking bear trap here. Because it's so easy to debunk this very simple statement. And again, the other thing that happens is that Destiny is assuming in this tweet that transgender people are rapists. Let's be clear about that. Because, again, let's apply this to cis people. If you are a cis woman and you are dating a cis man or flirting with a cis man or whatever stage you are at before you are in bed with them, some people, they do the casual thing. But whatever that step is, right? If you're at this step and you have that injured cisgender male who doesn't have a penis or testicles or whatever from accident or surgery or cancer or whatever, at the moment you discover it, it's tantamount to rape. Does that sound reasonable to the omni-liberals out there? Or what the fuck are his fanboys calling themselves these days? I don't even know. Does that count? Probably doesn't. But think about that scenario then with the cisgendered people. And would that be rape? Well, not usually. No, not really. No. Like, you would reach it and you might be surprised. You might be confused. But would any rape take place? Is that tantamount to rape? Because in order to rape, something else would have to happen, right? Some kind of violation or penetration of someone's body would amount to sexual assault, right? That's what it is. And that That doesn't happen in this scenario. Does it? Am I missing something? When does this count as rape with cisgender people in the same situation? I don't see it, personally. I do see an equivalence with the LGBT community as rapists, which is something that conservatives love to do, basically anywhere you are. And meanwhile, in order to protect people from those LGBT rapists, they're going to force teachers to touch the genitals of children in Florida. So, good job. Good job. Good job. Anyway, that's the original tweet. We could go on, but what I really want to talk about is how stupid Destiny's subreddit has gotten. Here we are. Our Destiny. Hub for all things Destiny, the streamer, not the game. This one, this is the one that fucking... This is where our title comes from. And the subreddit is full of all of these stupid people. Like, really stupid people. I've said before that when trans people have to talk to cisgender people about gender, it's usually like talking to an infant. And this whole subreddit is full of threads that are asking questions that were answered in the 1970s. Ostensibly, Destiny's debate bro friends are all about facts and logic and science and expanding the human mind and the field of study, and all they want is data. Destiny loves that. Destiny says he loves having some kind of analytical data to look at, but his community clearly doesn't, because they're asking for terms that were invented 50 years ago and they don't know about them. And they're saying, well, what if this hypothetical term existed? The hypothetical term does exist. So it's full of this kind of, I don't want to call it low IQ bullshit, but that's what it is. All right. The analogy with veganism is a good way to sell the trans argument rhetorically. I will read this for you if you are just listening along as you grind in World of Warcraft or something else equally as productive. Imagine you go to a popular vegan club, basically a place where everyone expects the food to contain 0 animal products and where everyone is a vegan. Imagine you show up with free samples of cheese. A few people take your samples and ask, hey, what is this made of? It tastes just like real cheese. And then you reveal to them that, yes, it literally is real cheese. This is clearly immoral. Full stop. If you want to be able to give out your free cheese samples, you need to either 1, disclose beforehand that the cheese is real, or 2, go somewhere else where people do not expect animal product free food. Kinda sucks that we don't have a term for food rape or anything like that, because this is such a shitty thing to do to vegans. They would not have taken the samples otherwise. Okay. I have some bad news for TotoJaw21 here. No, the analogy with veganism is not a good way to sell the trans argument rhetorically, and let's look at why that is. All right. So, first off, there is a difference between how strongly people feel genital preferences in their partners, if it's something they even consider at all until it comes up. And people who have decided that they're going to be vegan. Now, there are a few, I'll be fair, there are a few vegans who eat vegan food just because it's some of the only stuff they can stomach because of some digestive problem or immunodisorder or whatever. But the vast majority of vegans that I know and that you have probably seen and met have at least some, not 100%, but some ethical construction as to why they are vegan, right? Because it's animal cruelty, because of greenhouse gases, whatever. There's often a very logical process that went into that lifestyle choice, even if ultimately they would choose it anyway because they prefer it. There is often a very rigorous intellectual debate that goes on inside someone's head to decide to become vegan, because being vegan is really difficult. It's extremely expensive. It is not socially acceptable. Not really. I don't think it is. And I don't mean that in that I think it's unacceptable. I mean, like, our society is not built for that, right? Because our society subsidizes beef and chicken and all this other stuff, right? Instead of vegetation. And you only have to look at how defensive people get with veganism to see how that's not really the same thing. So that's one of the problems, because I don't think you're ever going to find a cisgendered person or a transgendered person, let's be fair. There are transgendered people who only want to date cisgendered people. That is a thing. It's very rare, obviously, but there are people who feel that way. I know of them. I know a few myself. Mostly younger people. But yeah, that happens. And most of those people probably haven't thought about this unless the issue is directly brought up to them, right? There isn't like a campaign to say, hey, why don't you fuck genitals other than the ones you expect to? Like there is for like animal cruelty, right? Like unless you are extremely blind and insular, you've probably seen some kind of animal cruelty campaign at some point in your life before you've left school. Okay? I'm talking to people who have at least left middle school here. You've heard about animal cruelty, you know that it exists. There's no comparable campaign to have people fuck genitals that they don't normally consider. The comparison between the two groups is very strange. Because vegans know that there is an alternative. They all know there's an alternative. The alternative is not to be vegan and be either vegetarian or a non-strict vegan. I believe that Steve Shives is like a non-strict vegetarian, I think. Like he'll have it for like holidays, I believe he said once, or whatever. But there's no comparison between these two groups. Secondly, why there also is no comparison between these two groups is because, yeah, at the vegan club where people have chosen to self-isolate, that is true, right? There is an expectation within this hypothetical vegan tent that nothing there would not be vegan because you are expecting to serve it to vegan people. They have self-isolated this group of people, and you are being disruptive by entering that safe space. That's literally what it would be a safe space that any food in here you can eat because it's all vegan. But the thing about a vegan club or a vegan store or whatever like that is that would be a very, very isolated place. Extremely isolated. There is a whole world of non-vegan or half-vegan or anti-vegan places to go, right? Like, the vegans are the 1% of the population in this analogy, but if you apply that to trans versus cis people, you're basically taking the 98% of people who have an expectation of genitals and saying, stay out of their club. Stay out of, don't even touch 98% of people for companionship. Like, that's very different. That is an excessively different thing. So this is dumb. The term food rape, I don't even have to get into why that is stupid. And this is such a shitty thing we do to vegans. Like, has this person actually gone into a vegan club and given them non-vegan food? Like, what? Does this happen a lot? That's the implication I'm getting from this. Is that true? Vegans in chat, please tell me. So this was the funniest one. This has been sticking in my head, and it's just sat there forever because fuck me. Why is it happening? This is the quality of Destiny's community, by the way. Reason I'm being very quiet is because I actually had a meme on hand. Well, it's not a meme. It's just a very funny picture. Paste. Go. This is an old spells, charms, and incantations book. It says you may fascinate a woman by giving her a piece of cheese. Yes, witches like girl dick. That's what I'm saying. Let's look at some of the other brilliant things that Destiny's community has to say. Should post-op trans people have to disclose that they're trans before sex? I don't see why Destiny's position should only apply to genitals. A lot, probably the vast majority, of guys would not have sex with a trans person pre or post-op. Again, Pornhub numbers and statistics would indicate that you are very wrong about that. So shouldn't this be something that needs to be disclosed before sex? Not really worth dignifying with a response, but we can go through the whole board actually. Let's do that. Paste and go. I don't know how to navigate Reddit. I'm just cutting and pasting URLs from other tabs. because I clearly don't use Reddit. I have one karma. Ask every woman you are about to have sex with if they are trans. Why are you so mad? It's my responsibility to make sure that you match my genital preference. I mean, that's a good one. I give credit to McGee's arrow. Gay people, when told straight people are bigots for having a genital preference, again, no one is saying straight people are bigots for having a genital preference. There are plenty of gay people who don't have a genital preference, though. This is the most basic understanding of what the word gay means, so, hey, fine. This is just sad. Fuck the internet. Fuck everything. All right. This is going to be a fun one. By Swiftly There. So go for it. In the past few hours, I've seen so many people arguing that we should get over our genital preferences without a shred of understanding what saying that actually means. Why in the fuck am I not allowed to have preferences? Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with having a preference for genitalia? How is that different than saying gay men should get over preferring dick? I feel like I'm talking crazy pills here. Have these people never actually been outside? Who the fuck thinks this way? I'm not sure if these people are actually just terminally stupid or maliciously homophobic. Do they just not realize it? TLDR, if I like dick and you're telling me to get over it because otherwise you're transphobic, please video game yourself. Fuck everything. Okay. Well, there's a suicide question. What happened to like 2010 levels of acceptance where everyone was told that people like who they like and shouldn't be criticized for that? Well, unfortunately, Destiny has a problem with that. 90s being left on race meant we shouldn't care about people's race. Today it means hyper focus on people's race. So what an intellectually stellar crowd that Destiny has cultivated over the years. Holy fuck, if I ever have an audience like this. Please, terms of service me. You can have a preference, you just aren't a rape victim for nutting in a trans girl's mouth. That's the dumbest fucking take. What about countless other sex acts that don't put you in a position of power? How about this stupid random sex act? If a trans person puts their penis on your face, would you consent to have sex with a person with a penis? Is that not rape? Again, this is not what Destiny was talking about here. If a person, not a trans person, if a person puts their penis on your face when you didn't consent to having sex with a person with a penis, is that not rape? Well, yes, that would be at least sexual assault. But that's not what Destiny said. Destiny said, if you don't find out until the very last moment, then it is tantamount to rape. We remember this. Uyghur stuff, which we could talk about. But it's getting really late. So I think I'll just stay on this topic anyway. JXE is asking to debate Destiny. I mean, they have 380k subs, so they'll probably get his attention. I mean, again, like I said, Destiny has a preference for the size of channel that he wants to debate. I mean, after he spent years introducing the world to far-right bullshitters, I mean, yeah, sure, now he has standards. Let's see. Just trying to split the T from LGBT again. Good Nazi shit in Destiny's sub. George Floyd stuff. Oh yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to get this in before all hell breaks loose later today. If they're being raped, why don't women simply say no and leave? That is not what he said. That is not what was being described, again, in Destiny's tweet. Let's see. Feeling gaslit on informed consent. This is an essay. Let's see. It's been my understanding that for years, feminist LGBTQ communities have been pushing hard for societal change and consent. Historically, persistence before an eventual reluctant acceptance was not only considered rape, but was reinforced by the media. James Bond, for instance, was the king of this. In that era, once Pussy Galore stops constructively saying no by giving up on pushing Bond away, the consent inquiry is over. Now we've obviously moved far from this. To the extent that if Bond did this in a movie today, that would be the end of the series. The onus for consent has been shifted from the party wishing to end the encounter, who had to unambiguously and continually say no, to the sexual encounter, to the would-be offending party. Although, of course, both parties, to obtain enthusiastic, unambiguous, continuous, and informed consent. This is something that has been deemed so important that during freshman orientation in college, we had to do modules on it and watch speeches about it so that we could be fully informed on what true consent looks like. Now, why did this change happen? Large reasons. I'm sure the big brains over on Destiny's subreddit are going to have a great insight into why this happened. Large reason that for a multitude of reasons, it can be extremely difficult to stop sexual encounters either at the outset or once they get going. Technically true so far. Even if someone wants to stop or isn't sure they want to continue, a sexual encounter and safety pressures can make this hard to express. This is important, of course, because of the tremendous amount of long-lasting damage that unwanted sexual experiences can have on people. The idea that the onus should be on the non-trans person in the sexual interaction to affirmatively withdraw their consent upon seeing unexpected genitals seems completely incongruous with any modern concept of consent. Again, there are certainly situations where that could happen, but again, that isn't what Destiny said. Destiny said, at that moment, before you can confirm consent, it is already tantamount to rape. That's, again, this is just not what Destiny was talking about. Let's see. More when hormones and adrenaline are able to think clearly and come to the conclusion, one you might come to later, that you don't want to have sex with someone with those genitals. In both of these instances, there would be a lack of true consent. So this is just the men are too horny to stop from raping argument flipped on its head. If you are too horny, you might agree to have sex with a dick girl, but then when you're telling your buddies about it, you might withdraw your consent then. So because you are too horny, you were raped. It's just the same argument, just flipped on its head. It's exactly the same argument. Just, always in service of helping straight men, as most conversations about rape tend to be skewered. Does it suck for trans people that they might lose any potential sexual partners because of their openness? Of course, that doesn't make it acceptable, though, to knowingly deceive someone, there is a very reasonable likelihood that fact would affect their consent. The fact that a trans person might not be open about this is in itself a tacit admission that they know that giving their would-be sexual partner, there's supposed to be a hyphen there. Their would-be sexual partner advance warning to decide if they want to go through with the encounter would affect the likelihood of it happening. Again, if you're making an assumption Again, this applies to cisgender people. If you are making an assumption that a guy you are flirting with has a dick, but it got shot off in Vietnam or whatever, is that the same thing? Obviously, it is the same thing, right? Obviously, it's even worse, honestly, because at least most trans men develop some kind of penis. The Vietnam veteran is in a worse spot because he's got nothing. So again, is that rape? Is that rape? If they don't have a penis, is it rape? That's an interesting question that I didn't think I'd be asking this morning. Allow me to shift here for a moment. There we go. My stupid chair. I need a new chair. This sort of strategic deceptiveness to coerce consent is something I would expect to see defended by incel communities on 4chan, not a supposedly woke trans community. Again, you are making an assumption about somebody, but because you have expectations, a separate individual is not required to live up to your expectations. And again, I say live up to your expectations like it's a worse option, when in my experience it's been the opposite. But let's not get into that. Like you're expressing it, if even if we express it as the worst option, like just because someone does not live up to your expectation, they didn't rape you. Like you had an expectation and it didn't pan out. You know, I expected Destiny to have a 5-inch dick. He has a 2-inch dick. I've been raped. That sounds so stupid. It's kind of weird. In certain instances, it could, I guess, be considered kind of scummy, especially if you like used other people's pictures to pass yourself off, I guess. But like, that's not what we're describing here. What should be happening is that straight men should be adopting a new hobby and a new habit, I should say. New habit, although some of them definitely would make it a hobby, is that every girl that you are interested in, that you flirt with, you should tell them straight up, if I find out that you are trans, I am ready to stab you. That would make life so much more easy for everyone, cis and trans alike, right? Just normalize that. Make that your opening statement. I just don't understand. 80% upvoted. Good community, Destiny. This is a good effort post that I agree with. Commenting to show my support. I'll probably troll this fucking sub and get banned from it in an hour, but we'll do that later. Off the air, where I can say things that wouldn't get past YouTube. There was another really fucking funny one, but I can't see this one. No. Oh well, here. Someone is commenting on the "what genitals do you have?" question. If it really bothers you, right? If this really bothers you, just ask up front. My issue with this is that the answer to that question is so readily assumed 99.99% of the time that even asking the question could be seen as a joke or an insult. Well, I mean, okay. But don't you ask if someone you're dating is like a child molester or a felon or something? You don't want to date that. I think the fallacy behind this thinking is that the callers, Twitter people, think that because we don't ask that question, it must not be all that important. This is false because it is important to many people. The reason they don't ask is precisely because they correctly assume the answer to their own question 99.99% of the time. Again, trans people make up roughly what, 1.6? Is that the number? 1.6% of the population. So even this is grossly overselling how often that would be by a factor of 186 or something like that. In a different situation, such as LGBT-friendly bar or club, then an argument could be made that the person with the deal-breaking preference should ask. But in many situations, if I asked a girl, even in a totally serious manner, I have liked getting to know you so far, and I know this may be strange to ask, but just to clarify, you do in fact have a vagina. I just think that would be taken badly or not seriously in many cases. This is the perfect example of theory not working in real life. Well, I mean, why wouldn't that work? Like, is it? Is it a bad question? Like, why wouldn't it work? I can't find a reason why, other than the fact that, oh wow, it's so obvious. So obvious. So obvious. I mean, people did used to ask this sort of question all the time, usually to make sure that they weren't Jewish, or, you know, had a black grandfather, or something like that. You know, it's the same kind of question. People used to ask it a lot, but, you know, it wasn't necessary. Like 99% of the time, no chance that you're dating a Jewish girl. No chance you're dating a Jewish guy. Just in case, though, someone might have asked. I know my great grandfather asked my grandfather if he had black blood in him once. I know that's a thing. Just before he married his daughter, right? Like, that's a thing people used to ask because it mattered to them. If it really matters to you, you'll ask too. Yeah, this is the quality of Destiny sub. I'm probably gonna have fun with this before I go to sleep because there's way too much dumb shit here. Is this one is a fucking essay. Holy shit. There's a whole lot of shit here. We're not going to deal with that one. Where's the other one? Where's the one that was really out of touch? Exhibit A, Destiny in the first thread, rebuttal. Wow, they're actually just teaching people how to defend Destiny. How fucking sad is your fucking life that you have to go on a subreddit to tell people how to defend your favorite streamer? What the fuck? What am I doing with my life? Oh. Jesus. This is so weird. Like I said, my solution is the standard solution. Every man who has a problem with this, or woman, We want to be inclusive on this channel. Anyone who has a problem with genitals should just tell people straight up front. Be like, you don't have to tell me your genitals, but if I find out you were trans, I'm ready to stab you. That's all. I'm ready to take you in a knife fight. I'm ready to beat you and leave you on the side of the road. I am ready to terms of service you in the terms of service. Whatever. Add your own flavor to it. If this really bothers you that much, like being black bothered my great-grandfather. Just ask. Just tell them. Tell them up front. What am I doing with my life? Ask that question a lot. All right, I'm going to use this opportunity while I'm here. Happy 420, everybody. Blaze it. Just to tell you what's going on with the channel. I obviously haven't been doing Andromeda videos because I still haven't figured out what the fuck I want to do about them. Because now, Lionsgate, who currently owns Andromeda, is pulling videos months after they've been uploaded. I don't know if there's a new robot on shift at YouTube or something that is causing it. I have to make American editions of Great Neptune's Ocean, and something else got pulled. I appealed, I got denied, so I can't lawyer up because fuck, have you seen my channel? Did you see the first 5 minutes of this fucking stream? You think I can afford a lawyer? No. So we'll do that. We'll do that. Americanized versions of the Andromeda videos that got pulled. I'll re-upload them. And honestly, kind of considering making just a separate channel for all of that shit, because I hate having like 2 copies of the same fucking video for that series. But, it's the principle of the thing. America sucks. America sucks. American censorship is a joke. And I want you all to know it. I kind of have an idea for what my next video is going to be. I just haven't decided how much collaboration from other people I want on it, because I have an idea that would work really well with a lot of people, with a lot of voices, but that might be too much work. I don't know. My channel is just for fun. Still just for fun. That's why there's no Patreon on this channel. I'm not going to do that. This is my hobby, and it's never going to stop being my hobby. We did try the coffee thing in case people wanted to like tip jar me, but I had problems between coffee and PayPal, so I wasn't able to keep that going. I'm still technically in limbo with coffee. But yeah, I know I haven't had a lot of output. Life's been a bitch. It's been a hard winter. It's been a hard winter. My name's Winter. And yeah. I'll just let you guys know when something else comes up. I'll probably do more impromptu streams. I want to get back to it. Probably just bullshit like this. Although if I keep doing this, maybe I should just go to Twitch. I don't know. Fuck it. Who cares? I'm gonna do more work with the fucking Reform series. That's gonna be next on my dockets. After this next video, which is going to talk about the social safety net. So look forward to that. And Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.